Hello, my name is Ruben, Austria, founder of LEARNin Local. What we're doing today is a very special segment about fix and flip loans. I'm bringing on my favorite private lender and friend, Rafahael Islam. He's going to be talking about the three most important things that any investor needs to know in order to get their fix and flip loan request funded. So we like fun and we like it funded. Rafael, how are you, sir?
Good, good, man. How about yourself?
Great, great. Hey, before we get into like the the three top things that every investor needs to know get a fix and flip done, let's talk about like how many borrowers do you run into that just absolutely have no clue?
I want to say there's just more and more every day, right? There's a lot of social media about flipping homes. There's reality TV shows that they make it look fun and sexy, and you can make millions of dollars. And yeah, there is upside to it, but you need to know what you're doing.
First, okay, completed deals.
Yeah, the first thing is always completed deals. If you're going to present your deal to any private money lender, any investor, you're going to want to know, we want to know how many flips have you done in the last 2 years, in the last 3 years. And when I mean you yourself is, you're on title. You weren't just someone that was a JV partner or you did it with a team before. None of that. We want to know how many flips you have personally done. Because if you've never done any type of construction, you could have bought a flip and then, let behold, hey, I forgot or didn't do a home inspection, and there's a $50,000 foundation issue, and that's going to kill your profits and your ARV. So, experience is very important. That's going to tell us how much we're willing to lend you and also how much we would essentially give you the highest amount of leverage.
What would you like to see as how many fix and flip deals? Because a lot of people who are fixing and flipping, maybe they've rented, bought properties before where they rented, it didn't have to flip. How do you actually see that? How do you, how would you, evaluate that kind of experience?
No, it's a really good scenario because some people have say one, two, three, five rental properties but never flip. We'll give you some experience for that because you do management. You probably have a team that can go out and fix up a property and to sell it. So it depends on the level of renovation. If you told me, hey, I have five rental properties and I want to do ground up construction deal, I'd be like, no, we're not going to do that for you because you've
Right.
never done ground up construction. You never dealt with the city. You never dealt with, a contractor, going from essentially from all the soft costs to the hard costs. So if you had, again, five rental properties and you're doing a light renovation, meaning you're doing interior, exterior painting, you're redoing the bathroom, the kitchen, the flooring, things like that, I would consider that a light renovation.
Understood. Understood. So, really quick answer to this: without with no experience, what's the highest loan to value you think anybody could get on fix and flip?
It'd be anywhere from 75 to 80% loan to value.
Perfect. Okay. Don't try to get 100% financing if you're never done a flip before in your life. Next up, deal specifics. So please, get into that. This is a second piece of important piece of information anybody would need to know if they're doing a fix and flip project.
Yeah, this is kind of very specific and simple. What's the purchase price? How much can you put down? What's the current value of the property? What do you think the property will be valued after you're done? And what's your renovation budget? And that's it. We want to know the specifics of the deal of what we're talking about. And we're only going to go off of numbers. We're not talking about how great the deal is or the amount of potential it has. We're just going to talk specifically about the deal and the market in that area where you're trying to buy the house and flip.
When borrowers request funding for their deal, why do you feel like they have the need to embellish the project with words and maybe pictures or anything else that might not necessarily be important? Why do you think that's the case, and why is it not important?
That It's a tricky question, right? It could be their real estate agent that's telling them, hey, this is a great deal, or they may be working with a wholesaler, or that's telling them, hey, this is a great deal, you should get into it. Or it could be they're trying to sell the deal and telling you how great it is. But it really comes down to the economics of the deal, right? How much you're buying it for, how much you're putting into it, how much can it be sold for. And, we're looking at just data. We're going to jump into, like, say, Zillow or Redfin, see what properties are being sold for in that neighborhood. So why they embellish, I'm not too sure. They're trying to sell the deal.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is?
You know what? In some way, I believe they feel like it would make a difference. And sometimes, when I get those loan requests, Ruff, if the deal specifics they provided are good, maybe the descriptions and quote unquote embellishments may help and may help people understand. You know what I mean? But it's like that saying is like, if it's a good deal on the deal specifics, then that extra information might be great. But if it's a bad deal, that extra information is just a waste of time. Is
Yeah,
that
it
right?
wouldn't make a difference, right?
It wouldn't make a
Not at
difference.
all.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Now, in terms of deal specifics, the things that you noted, why do we get deals, or why do investors submit deals and don't have all the information? That's another reason. That's another thing that could really, uh, you know, prevent them from getting funding. Like, what is, what do you think? What would you say about that?
That's a really good question. We both get loan requests all the time from investors that are experienced, that are brand new, and sometimes they don't have, the nuts and bolts of what we need to know, right? So it could be the fact they're just misinformed. Maybe they just don't know how to present it, and that's why we're here talking about how to present the deal to let them know, hey, this is what any investor would be looking for. Because if someone's going to lend you $600,000, we want to know if the deal makes sense. And this, we're just going off the numbers, we're going off facts. We've gotten deals, scenarios, hey, I'm going to buy a house for like $800,000, I'm going to put $200,000 into it, and it's going to be worth $1.6 million. And I'm like, that sounds great, what's the address? They give me the address. I jump into Zillow, Redfin, just every property search there is, and I'm just looking at the basic comps. There's no house that's ever sold for $1.6 million in that neighborhood. I can tell you right then and there, like, hey, this is a bad deal. Every house that is completely renovated is selling for 1,350,000 or 1.2, that range, 1.2 to 1,350,000. And we can tell you straight up, hey, that the numbers don't make sense. Are you sure? And sometimes people say, oh no, my house will sell for this. And I don't want to bring that point up because I run into that a lot. And you have to understand, if the appraiser goes out, say the end buyer, whoever's going to buy your house, they're going to order an appraisal.
Yep.
They're going to look at all the comps in the neighborhood. If every house in that neighborhood that's renovated is sold for 1.2 to 1.350, and there's nothing that's sold for 1.6, and all the houses are the same, your house is more than likely to be 1,350,000, right? Like, so, and sometimes investors, if you're a brand new investor, you may not even think about that.
Right.
You also have to understand, who's your end buyer. Would they do, are they going to be doing cash? More than likely not, depending on the neighborhood. Are they going to get a jumbo loan? Will they get an FHA loan? All those different types of things do play into the bigger picture. Because if you're buying a house to flip, you need to know who you're going to sell to, who you're flipping it to, who's your end consumer for the flip.
Let's go to the final bullet point for how to fund your next fix and flip, and that is cash holding.
Yeah, this is really basic, really simple. When we're doing fix and flip loans, we're not verifying any income whatsoever. This is solely based on the equity of the property, what it can be worth once you're finished. So we're looking at how many months of, payments that you can afford. Say if your flip's going to take you 6 months, do you have the 25% down plus 6 months of reserves to cover the monthly payments and the closing costs? That's exactly what we're looking for. And I hear from clients, oh, but I work at Google and I work at this job and I make this amount of money and I can give you my paycheck stubs. We don't want any financial information from you that's going to tell us your W-2, your paycheck stub, your tax returns. We're not big banks. We're private money lenders. We're looking at the deal and we're looking at how much cash assets, how liquid you are to get this deal moving forward. We need to know that you have the money for the down payment, the closing costs, and the holding costs.
Let's dive more into the no down payment type of fix and flips, because I think that's probably one of the things that holds a lot of people back. They might have cash in the bank, but usually it's not for the down payment.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a good rule of thumb as far as percentage? Because obviously the down payment is going to be determined by the quality of the deal, quality of the borrower, experience of the borrower.
Yes.
What's a good rule of thumb for cash holdings that might be needed in order to get a deal done? If there was a rule of thumb,
I would say 10 to 15% of your ask.
10%.
So hypothetically, if you have $1 million ask, you should have anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 in your bank account on top of the down payment and closing costs.
Perfect. Now, is there any way around having to 10 to 15%, or are there any ways that you can get deal funded if they were lacking liquidity? Just want to put all the options out there for everyone to understand.
There you can always add in a partner into the deal, someone that can JV with you. That's one way to do it. You should have some liquidity because, how are you going to make the monthly payment?
Understood.
We're going to want to know that, right? So you can get another loan. If you already own one property, you can get a home equity line of credit or a second lien on that. Because again, we're not looking at your debt to income ratios.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe is there any maybe cross collateralization that would reduce the amount of cash holdings required?
Oh yeah, if you have other properties and there's enough equity, we can cross collateralize that and you can come in with less down. So if you're thinking you're a brand new flipper from 0 to 3 flips, you're looking at 20 to 25% down. And
Perfect.
Once you get in the 4 to 9 flips, 4 to 10 flips, you can get away with 15%. And after 10 plus flips, 10% down, and even sometimes 100% financing at that time. Once you have a track record, you have experience, that would be the candidate for 100% financing. Because I've seen, so much stuff on social media, Reels, just Instagram, TikTok, whatever you name it. People talk about there's 100% financing, and it's very misleading because people think, oh, hey, I can just get 100% financing. I can tell them how great this deal is. And is 100% financing possible? Yes. It could be seller financed. The seller can finance you for the entire deal. But where are you going to get your renovation funds? You have to have liquidity. You got to have skin in the game, which what we call it. Because if your flip goes south, what are we supposed to do with a half-built home going into foreclosure? If we gave you 100% financing, now the whole deal is a loss.
That's right.
Getting the attorneys involved to start the foreclosure process, everything's a loss. If the market turns even just a little bit, you're at a loss. So we curb our risk by never doing 100% financing. And when we do, it's on deals that make sense. They're slam dunk deals. Your return on investment is going to be great for the market you're in. It just all needs to make sense.
Rafahael, thank you so much for all the information. We look forward to more information to come. Thank you so much.
Thanks.